Amelia Wilcox is the founder and CEO of Nivati, the high growth mental health platform that provides the easiest way to understand and manage employee mental well being. Amelia, thank you for being here with us today. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm excited to be here. Love sharing the story. So I'm excited to get started.
Perfect. Well, here at My Tech High, we love it when the students or really anyone takes their own path and figures out what's best for them and how it works best for them. After high school, a lot of people do a lot of different things. There's on the job trainings or apprenticeships or college, university, that kind of thing. After high school, what was your educational experience like?
Yeah, so after high school, I did like one semester of college at a local university, Southern Missouri University, which I grew up in Kansas City. And then I just like moved to Utah because I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do. And while I was in Utah, I made friends with a girl who had graduated from massage school and was like working on her own and had a little private practice and, making like $60 an hour, charging people to do massage, and she could pay her rent and all of her bills. And I was like, this is awesome. And so she took me into the massage school to get a massage, and I'd never had one before. And I was kind of scared at first because I was like, I don't want to get undressed. It's so weird. But I loved it. And one of the things that I experienced from that was I had always had like chronic headaches my whole life ever since I was young. And when I got a massage, it really helped with my headaches. And so I was like, what? This is awesome. So I was like, I want to do this for people. I want to be able to help people in pain. And so I enrolled in massage school, and that was a 5-month full-time schooling process. So it's like 800 or 900 hours. Lots of anatomy and biology, cadaver labs, which was like my favorite. Up at the University of Utah, you get to use the same cadaver labs like the students there use. And so yeah, there's a lot of like science that you have to learn, which memorizing like insertion points and muscle names and bone names and stuff. But I liked all of that. I thought it was awesome. And so then I got a job at a spa and started my own massage practice. And then while I was doing massage out of my home with my newborn baby, I was a newlywed. I said, I want to go back to college. And so I was just in school half-time and just up at the University of Utah studying nutrition and exercise physiology. And I did that for a couple of years. And then I started a company with my husband. It was an online outdoor retail store called Marumbi.com. And we kind of like backcountry sold tents and backpacks and sleeping bags and coats and things like that. So I stopped school so that I had time to work on that while I was still doing my massage practice. And we ran that for like 4 years. And then the recession hit and we were left with like all this inventory we couldn't sell off. And then I decided to turn my passion for massage into a business. And I started a company called Incorporate Massage and grew that over 10 years to about 6 million in revenue. And then COVID hit and we went to zero.
Oh
Like
man.
almost overnight. And I mean, you were asking about my education. I guess that's where it ended, was a couple of years of school, bachelor's undergrad school at the University of Utah. And I haven't been back to school since, because it's just been like business after business and yeah, project after
Gotcha.
project. So,
No,
but
that's
I do
awesome.
want to go back and I was telling my husband, I was like, I want to go back and get an executive MBA. He's like, pretty sure you have to get a bachelor's degree first. You can't just go straight for the MBA. And I was like, dang it.
Oh,
Cause
that's funny.
I feel like I should be able to skip that part, but,
Hmm. Hmm.
but I do
No,
want to go back.
I think that's really cool, and even leading into the careers and stuff as well. All of that's educational, obviously, as we
For
all
sure.
know. But that's really cool. And um, one thing that has come across my plate a few times recently are like competency based educational platforms. Like people can get their bachelor's degree like in a couple months. Just like because they're already super good at all these things, and then yeah, jump into your MBA or something. But I think that's really cool. I think it's fun to see that you were just kind of living your own life, and then you just you had your masseuse friend, and then you had a massage, and you're like, this is incredible. I want to do more of this. It's cool to see how other people discover what they like to do. And it just kind of happenstance. So that's really cool. So then all of that, I guess, as you were kind of leading into, that led into different businesses. Like, did you have a lot of business experience? I mean, you said you kind of started up your own masseuse practice. Was that kind of after all of this University of Utah and stuff happened? Or how did you gain these business skills to start your own business? It's kind of a daunting aspect.
Yeah, I mean, I probably have a natural selling ability that I don't really know where it comes from. Which, even when I was in middle school, my dad got like these big chocolate chip cookies for wholesale through like his work. And I would take them to school and sell them for, make a good margin on selling them for twice what the wholesale cost was. And I did that for a while till the school shut us down because they're like, they got to make their money on the kids. Anyway, just little things like that. Like we also had like a Christmas card making thing that we did, me and my brother and my mom, for Christmas, where we made a bunch of cards by hand and we would go door to door selling them. And so I feel like my childhood was full of little experiments like that. My brother had like a paper airplane making company when he was like 6 or 7, and he would go, and adults just loved it so much they would give him ridiculous amounts of money for these paper airplanes. So I remember it was called Doughfly was the name of
Nice.
his little paper airplane company. But yeah, I mean, I just kind of grew up that way. And then when I moved to Utah, before I started massage school, before I knew anything that I wanted to do, I just got a job, the first place that would hire me, which was a call center called Feature Films for Families. And I was just on the phone. I think I made $12 an hour, which was pretty good. And I would talk to people on the phone, people who had already purchased their videos before, and try to sell them more videos. So more like an upselling kind of job. And in like the first week I was there, I was like the top salesperson. That's kind of when I realized like, oh, I don't know what I'm doing, but just like connecting with people and persuading them seemed to come kind of naturally for me. They're here in Utah, and he got a wholesale account as being an employee. And I was like, oh, well, we can build an e-commerce website. I can figure that out. And I had done like 2 years of computer science in Votech in high school, because my dad was like, you have to go into computer science because then you won't be poor and like you'll have a career. So he like forced me to take computer programming classes. And that's actually what my semester at college was all computer science. And I didn't like it, which is why I pulled out of college and went to Utah and just was like, I'm going to take a semester off and figure out what I want to do. But yeah, I just was like, well, I know a lot about computers and the internet. Like we can probably do this. And so we built a little e-commerce site, and we're selling online outdoor gear and just not even managing it very well. It was a part-time thing I was doing on the side while I ran my massage practice. Also, when I started my massage practice, I just decided to go into this. I found a gym and I just said, hey, can I come in here and do free massages? And I would just do free massages all day and then convert those people in their 10-minute chair massage to come to my house and give them my business card. And anyway, I just grew my practice really quickly and was totally full. So it was awesome.
Wow, that's
so I made
awesome.
good money doing that. So yeah, just like lots of practice with selling skills. And I feel like selling is like one of the most universal indicators for future success. Like if you can nail how to connect with people and influence them, you can really do anything. It translates into like every kind of business. So I did that with the online outdoor retail store as well. We had to like convince brands like the North Face to let us sell their gear. So even to like bring a retailer on, you have to convince them. So I'd go in there pretending like we're, this big successful company, and, not in any unethical way, but you do have to present yourself confidently and convince them that like you're going to be a good representation of their brand. And so we had those experiences, but I didn't really understand like how to manage the books or, make responsible fiscal decisions. And when that one went under, we were left with like $60,000 in debt from just buying all this inventory on credit cards that we were holding in our garage. And we probably would have done okay if the recession hadn't hit, because then it's just like everything dried up. So there was really like no demand for stuff because people were just losing their jobs at that time. So we shut everything down. We sold it all off for super cheap, less than we'd bought it for. And then I had all this debt. And that's when I decided to start incorporate massage, because I was like, well, I'm really good at running a massage practice, but I can only make so much money. I had raised my rates to like $100 an hour, right? And I was working 4 or 5 hours a day. You can't really work more than that, but there was like no way we were going to get ourselves out of debt. And we had a baby and a mortgage, and I was like, well, I got to figure out how to scale massage. So I'm super passionate about that. I know how to sell. How do I sell massage in mass without me doing it myself physically? That's when I said, well, it'd be pretty cool to bring massage into the workplace and have employers pay for it and provide it as a benefit to their employees. And I had a friend I'd gone to massage school with, and she was doing that at like her brother was a VP at a company in Utah. And he had brought her in right after she graduated from school to do massage on Mondays for their team. And then at some point she said, I don't want to do them anymore. I'm going to hire someone to do them. And then she paid that person, and then she made a big profit off of it. Right. So I called her and I said, can you just tell me everything about that arrangement, and like how you found your people, how you paid them, what you charged, how you billed, how they manage scheduling with the employees. And I asked her like every question I could think of. And then, I was like, okay, well, I'm going to try this. I think we can do it better, and we can leverage technology to automate a lot of the pieces that, she was doing manual, but it wasn't like her business. It was just like an account that had fallen into her lap that was residual income. She wasn't pursuing it. And so, yeah, that's how I grew that company. I grew it to we had 4,000 corporate clients across North America, 1,200 massage therapists. We were doing about 6 million in revenue right before COVID hit. And then in about 10 days, the entire business went to zero. So
Yep,
nobody
no
was
one
going to
going to
work.
the office. Oh, that's terrible.
And you couldn't even do massage in a lot of states. Like we couldn't even do in-home or anything like that, because we looked at so many options. But ultimately, we found a new need around mental health with our clients. And I said, you know what, we have the team and the technology to take on this problem. And I brought my team back from furlough, and we got to work on hiring counselors and just seeing if we could sell a kind of teletherapy package to corporations. And turns out we could. And so, yeah, we went from zero to, I guess we've got like 65 corporate accounts, including companies like Domo and Homey and Lendio, Blade HQ, Thread Wallets here in Utah. And yeah, we provide it's like a holistic mental health solution. So it's more than just therapy. It's like if you need to work with a life coach, or you need to learn how to get your financial wellness in order, or meditate or work on your sleep, whatever it is, like you can do it on our app. So that's the Reader's Digest version.
Well, that is really cool. That's fun. That's really cool that, I mean, not cool that the whole massage thing went to zero in 10 days and overnight. That's always unfortunate, but it is cool that you were able to just see a new need because people were at home struggling with mental health, lots of things around that. And that you were just able to pick up and keep going and then still be very successful. I think that's really cool. And that is the current one, the Nivati. Is that how you say that?
Yeah, you
And
got
that's
it.
currently what you're doing. That is so
Yep.
cool. So are you someone who they would talk to, or you're just managing all of your therapists and all of your life coaches and things like that?
No, so I don't have a background in mental health professionally or educationally. I'm a licensed massage therapist. I, have tons of business experience, studied exercise physiology and nutrition, studied computer science, but no, I have personal experience with therapy. I've probably seen 3 different therapists in my lifetime at different points in my life. Lots of people in my family are very active in therapy. And so it's something I'm like very passionate about. In fact, I always would tell people like everyone needs therapy. Like even if you think you don't need therapy, you need therapy. We can all benefit from it. And so it was when I saw there was like an opportunity to help people in that space, I was like, awesome. That's something I'm personally very passionate about. So one of the first things I had to do was find someone who is an expert in the space. And we brought on our lead clinician, like from the get-go, and she helped us develop our, standards of care, figure out how to hire, build a hiring process, build out like how we're going to manage the people and all of that. So I don't have to be the expert in all of that because I have one of those. So
What advice would you give to students who want to manage their own business like you did, like you currently do, and even kind of what advice in finding one's passion would you say? Because I feel like a lot of students, they don't really know what they want to do. They have a couple interests, sure, but a lot of them don't really know what they like sometimes in terms of finding a whole career out of it. What advice in that category would you kind of give to students?
yeah, I think finding what you're passionate about is super hard. And it's something like people just think they should just know. And you don't, right? Like my husband, he's a firefighter paramedic. He's actually a captain now. He just made captain last fall. And he did not even know he wanted to get into firefighting until he was like 25. Right, which is still actually pretty early. A lot of people don't even figure that out till later, and that's his career, and he'll retire in like 7 years. So I would say if you don't know today, like that's okay and that's normal. I did not know I could grow businesses really until halfway through my build with Incorporate Massage. When we started, I guess it would probably be around 2016. I was like, oh, maybe I'm kind of good at this. And this is something I really enjoy. And I like bringing people together, and I like creating relationships that never would have existed. If I hadn't had my company, this employee and this employee would have never met and been like best friends, and, stuff like that is super rewarding for me. But I mean, it's just a process. You don't just figure it out. And this, if you look at the statistics, right? Like people change careers every decade. So
Yeah.
what you're doing from 20 to 30 is probably different than what you're doing from 30 to 40 and 40 to 50. So the idea of like, you're going to find that one thing, you're going to take the test and it's going to tell you you're going to be a janitor or a teacher or whatever, like, is so unrealistic. It's just not the world we live in today. There's so many opportunities and so many different types of careers. And even people that find what they're passionate about, they find something else they're passionate about, 10 years later and go that direction. So I think the big advice would be like, you don't have to know, just try lots of things and you'll find natural capacities you have for certain disciplines. And then you just lean into those strengths, right? Once you figure out like, hey, I'm actually naturally kind of good at this, then you want to develop that and you want to grow that. It's so much easier to get really, really good at something you're already naturally inclined to do than to try to take a deficiency and make that stronger, because you'll put in the same amount of work just to get yourself to like a status quo. Whereas if you take something you're already above average at and you invest in that, then you become like really, really good. So, and I think that's a common misconception where people are like, oh, I've really got to strengthen my weaknesses. It's like, well, you should be working on your weaknesses, but you should work on strengthening your strengths. Just seems kind of counterintuitive, but I think that's how people end up successful.
I think that's incredible advice. I think that's really cool to put just in a few words there how you did. Um, that's great advice. Thank you for that. Are there any plugs or anywhere students could follow you? I don't know if you have a social media account or Nivati itself. Anything like that?
Yeah, so I'm pretty active on LinkedIn. I would also recommend you absolutely get a LinkedIn, even in high school, and start building out like your professional network. It takes years to build a really solid professional network on LinkedIn. I mean, if I would have known to get a head start on it, I absolutely would have. But LinkedIn has been a huge career growth tool for me. I've gotten investors, I've closed deals. I have done a ton of keynote speaking because of my LinkedIn presence. It's just a really great opportunity. I source candidates through LinkedIn. I find mentors, partners, all sorts of things. So it's an incredible tool for future success. And I would absolutely invest in building your network now, but you can find me on LinkedIn. I'm very active and respond to my messages. You can add me and DM me, and I'm happy to help. But yeah, that's probably the best way to get in touch with me.
Perfect. Well, thank you, Amelia, for your insight, your story. All of it is very inspirational, and it will absolutely help students to come. So thank you very much.
Thanks, McKay.